skip one, no. Well, I wanted to set Shea up, yes. I wanted to set the pattern up because Shea is relatively new to the group, although, you know, after 2 or 3 times you're an old regular. In my experience and culture, we're not ones to hide anything that can help other people or help us along in life. And Shea's been hiding a couple of things, unless you went to coffee with her. So this is really why coffee dates are really important. So you notice that word financial professional, and you kind of say, oh, okay, we've heard that. A number of us are financial professionals. Shea got to be a financial professional in a couple of ways, and hopefully, Shea, you'll fill in some of the gaps that I left when you introduce yourself. Particularly this thing about being a coxswain at U of O. I was on the water at Oregon State, so I noticed already that we're there. And social media coordinator, that doesn't, it sounded really good 10 years ago when it was brand new, and then it has a different meaning now. You've really got to tell us how that went, because a lot of businesses that are represented in this group are still trying to get a handle on coordinating their social media, particularly the ones that have very small staff, like one, because you're doing everything. So here's some of the secrets, and all of you have these kind of secrets, because I haven't had coffee with you, all of you. And all of a sudden, you say, oh, okay, so there's been some education getting to financial professionalism. But there's been some community, and that's one thing that I noticed. Well, there's a philosophy I had. If I can see a bio of you at 4 to 8 years old, and what your mother brags you did when you were that young, and you had something to do with sales or money or something like that, then I can fast forward 20 years and I'll see you in that field. That's kind of the thing that I noticed when I look at bios of people very young. There are seeds of where you're going to be. Not that we all know those seeds, but that happens. But look below here, volunteer for MLK Day, volunteer for the Great Willamette Cleanup. So this is a person now that we're filling in some gaps on who she really is, even though she's going to give us her professional opinions today. And then, oops, sorry. So I want to introduce you to Shea Durkin. Come on up. We're going to shift over to another PowerPoint, and please fill us in.
All right. So I was prepared to talk about all of my background story, but I was a coxswain at University of Oregon for 2 years. I started my senior year of college, which might seem kind of weird, but since I'm from Connecticut, I still didn't really have a solid group of people that I could call my family at UO, and so when my friend invited me to rowing practice, I said yes, and then I did it through my master's program as well. And then I also was the social media coordinator for UO Greeks Go Green. I created my own position in my sorority as the green chairman, and got compost, recycling, and educated the girls about opportunities for reducing their waste. And I even created a whole garden, which was like in a concrete lot, and I had to dig up 2 feet worth of lava rocks, and then I had to sift it, and I basically did it by myself because nobody else was that passionate about it. So
what's it? I don't. Maybe I'm the only one that doesn't know what a coxswain is.
Oh, right. Yes. It is, sorry, right. It is the person that is sitting in the front or the back of the rowing boat, and and they have a microphone, and they're instructing all the rowers when to put their oars in the water and push. And so they're all together, because if any person's off, then they will go a lot slower. So just kind of like the captain of the boat and make sure everyone's safe in the boat at all times. So thank you for that question. So now I'm going to dive into personal finance topic. This will be a taste of what we do at my finance group, which happens first Tuesdays and third Thursdays. And I'm really excited to show you all a little bit more about that. So to start, my mission is to shift the paradigm from the phrase that we hear a lot now, which is the more you make, the more you spend. And I want to shift that to the more you make, the more you save and invest or donate. And so this revolves around the idea of, well, what is rich? What does that mean? And I think that's really all relative to how much you're saving versus how much you're spending. And that income amount, that salary amount that you have that you're getting in every month isn't really what defines what rich is. And so my goal with Finance Group, and by the end of today as well, I hope that you all shift your perspective about what finance could be, and that it is really a tool that can be fun, empowering, and a way to discover yourself even more. So that being said, I see a lot of similarities between budgeting and journaling. So when I started journaling about 4 years ago, I didn't enjoy it. It was like I didn't know what to write down on the page. I didn't find it very useful at all. I thought it was a waste of time. And then as I did it more, my words started flowing on the page a lot easier, and then I would use it as a tool to set intentions, reflect on my goals and my progress, and I really started to enjoy it. I found a lot of value of it. Similar to my budgeting experience, which I've been budgeting every month, looking back on my month and tracking in a spreadsheet what I am doing, and I've learned a lot about myself that way. And so I'll talk a little bit about my experience with that later on. So I want to invite you to consider substituting the word spiritual with financial. And so this quote here with financial in it, the financial journey is the unlearning of fear and the acceptance of love. Woo. And I want you to feel into your body about, or when you hear that, you may never have heard that finance can be a way to accept love more and bring more love into your life. So just feel into that a little bit. And then, the goal of a financial journey is not the completion of the journey, but the full engagement with the path along the way. So consider finance as a way to engage in your life more fully. Maybe you've never thought about finance as an opportunity to do that. And so in summary, finance is a way to unlearn fear, expand your understanding of yourself, and engage with your life more fully. And so during finance group, whenever someone comes for their first time, I ask them, where are you on your financial journey? And this might be a confusing question for some of you, so I'll go first. And so where I'm at right now, and what I've learned budgeting myself, is that I really had a lot of shame and fear around spending money, since this is the first year of my life where I've had my own money. And always having that guilt around spending money has been hard. And so when I was tracking my finances, I realized, wow, I don't let myself spend any money. So as I saved a lot in the first couple months when I was making money for the first time in my life, which was great to build up a savings account, which is needed for everyone, but I actually set a goal to spend more money towards the end of last year. And so I think I accomplished that. I went above and beyond and I bought a condo. There's been a lot of expenses with that, and that's still with the help of my parents, but I definitely feel like that has helped me get used to spending money and choosing, and now I'm like buying flights and trips and choosing what I want to do with my life and my money. So that's been really empowering. And so that's an example of sharing where you're at on your financial journey, and so it could be about your career or something you're working on right now, a trip you're saving for. And so I want to give you all like each a minute or to a minute and a half to share with a partner to practice talking about finances. And I know this is vulnerable, so just go into that knowing that, hold space for each other, and take a minute to talk with the person next to you about where you're at on your financial journey, just as a practice exercise.
She's a realtor and she's running for some money.
Alright, let's bring it back. That's time. Thank you all for participating and talking about your finances. Okay, bring it back. Does anybody feel like they want to share about how that went if you did talk about finances? Sure.
I'll share.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to stand up and rock people, but you know, it seems to be like I was sharing with Tracy that you know you're plugging along, you have this plan, but then life happens. Like you know, like my dog had to have a bunch of tests, or my daughter had some surgery. It's like you've got this financial plan and everything's going along just fine, but then stuff happens and it disrupts that financial plan, and then you're kind of either trying to make up for it or keep up with it. And so it's, I mean, best intention, even though you have the best intentions and you have it all journaled or written down or budgeted, like I have my budget all the way back from 2008. It's all on an Excel spreadsheet, and I'm like, whoa, I made that much in 2008. So it's, but yeah, I mean, things happen that derail the best intentions.
Thank you. Yeah?
I have a very good friend who has a $100 million business. And I said, how did you become so wealthy? And he says, Gary, it's all in the Bible. And one of the proverbs in the Bible is that only a fool spends every dime he has.
Wow.
I don't know, I can't point you to proverbs.
Yeah. And
Yeah, but wow,
I
that
think
is
that
actually true.
That goes to my belief around it's not how what your income is. Like if you're living within your means, I believe that you can accomplish all your goals, and we can all get behind the idea of bettering our lives in a way of making ourselves happier, but that doesn't necessarily equate to having a lot of money.
So you agree?
Yeah.
She concurs.
You concur.
And so I think that both of those also have to do with setting a March goal. It's the beginning of March, and so I'm not going to have you guys sit down right now, but maybe on your drives home you can consider what you just spoke about with your partner and where you're at, and then set some goals to the next step to get you to that bigger picture that you were talking about. And so people might not think that that's a financial plan, but if that's going to save you money and help you build up that emergency fund, then that is certainly part of a financial plan. And these types of goals, you can't read them. You can also review February's expenses if you haven't already. Start a budgeting spreadsheet if you don't already have one, or make that extra payment on a loan or something like that if you have any of that. And so I'd just like to wrap it up to say we are not alone. We are all one. And this is an invitation to Finance Group where although this is a very individual journey, we can still come together and relate to the idea that we're bettering ourselves and that we're all unique. So this is just one last quote. The financial journey is individual, highly personal. It can't be organized or regulated. It isn't true that everyone should follow one path. Listen to your own truth, and that's true with your finances as well. Thank you.
Could you go back one minute?